That was fun, wasn't it? Great second half there for the Elks as they pull off the comeback win in Saskatchewan tonight. A lot of good things we saw in the second half. Trey Ford really did his thing. The running game got going. Kevin Brown, some great plays by him tonight. This offensive line continues to be very good in the run game. Still some progress that can be made in terms of the pass blocking. But also, Geno Lewis, man. He just found openings in the zone, came up with a touchdown. This is what he was brought in to do. He's become that alpha playmaker that this team needs. And I'm really glad that he's here. Because otherwise, I don't know that any of our other guys make those type of plays that he does. He just has such a natural feel for the game. And his connection with Ford seems really good right now. Of course, this is still a run-first offense, so he doesn't have the eye-popping numbers that he might have had in Montreal in years past, but he's doing what he needs to do. Defense still saw some undisciplined play that was a little concerning, some bad penalties, but overall, wasn't a bad effort on that side of the ball. I was a little concerned about Jamal Morrow maybe having a big game tonight, but he was kept relatively in check. I thought Dolagala did a pretty good job most of the game, but at the end, Elks D slammed the door and prevented Dolagala from making those plays. Pass rush was good once again. A lot of positives to take out of this performance. I know previously I've been pretty pessimistic about the Elks' chances of making the playoffs, but now I'm thinking it's somewhat more realistic. Still not a good chance, but a chance nonetheless. So next week, welcome in our nemesis, the BC Lions. A team that has owned us more than Aaron Rodgers owned the Bears in his time with the Packers. As the old saying goes, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. Well, this is the last chance the Elks have to do that this season. Kind of glad this game is getting out of the way first, because this is the game I fear the most. But if that does not go well, the last three will have to be wins. And feasibly, they could be. So after a bye in week 17, we go to week 18, we go to Toronto. The reason I'm somewhat optimistic for this is I believe now that Toronto has sealed up the number one seed in the East, they might be resting their starters by week 18. Obviously, if you're Toronto, you don't want your players to get too rusty. But honestly, I don't know that I'd want Chad Kelly playing more than a half in this game if I'm the Toronto coaching staff. Certainly wouldn't want him running the ball that much in this game. Maybe go out and have him stay in the pocket, hand the ball off, make a few throws from the pocket for a half, and then let the next guy come in for the second. That's what I would do. But I'm not Toronto's coaching staff. Week 19, Edmonton has a bye. Excuse me. It's week 21, that's the bye. Week 19, they welcome Montreal to Edmonton, a game that looks suddenly winnable. I'm not saying that Montreal is a bad team. Obviously, I picked them this week. Came close, just didn't quite finish it off. But Montreal is certainly a better home team than they are a road team. Therefore, I have a little optimism about this matchup. But obviously, some more football to be played between now and then. Then the final game is in Winnipeg. Now, with this one, I don't know if the Bombers will have the number 1 seed sealed up in the West by this time. If they do, I'd imagine Collaros would not play. Oliveira might not either. If those two guys are out, there's a chance. So 3-1 over the last 4 games is going to be bare minimum needed to get into the playoffs. And it looks suddenly attainable. Again, I don't know if it's probable, but it's possible. If we assume Hamilton loses to Winnipeg tomorrow, they will be 5-8. So the Elks would just be 2 points back of that crossover spot. You look at Hamilton's schedule the rest of the way. They go to Toronto next week. I'd still imagine Toronto will be playing full speed ahead in that one. Next up, the Stamps go to Hamilton. That game could somehow end in a tie. That'd be great. Probably won't happen, though. When the two teams that you're chasing play each other, it's just not good. But in principle, I got to go for Hamilton this one. Next up, in week 18, Hamilton goes to Saskatchewan. The Riders are probably out of range for us to catch realistically. So, got to pull for the Riders in this one. Then, Hamilton welcomes BC in week 19. And then they're off in week 20 before going to Montreal in week 21. So that schedule for Hamilton, not great. They're the main team we have to catch. Can we do it? Maybe. Wouldn't be too optimistic, but buckle up. It would truly be something if this team made the playoffs, though. And honestly, if it somehow happens, I'm saying if, this is probably the proverbial team no one wants to face, because obviously this team would have had to gone on a tear in the second half of the season. If we presume 7-2 over the second half of the season, not sure many teams out there would have better records over the back 9. But again, a lot of football left. I'm just glad it's meaningful. So with that, I will wrap this video up, and I will see you next time.